Well, hello. How are you doing? Got a few things I want to talk about. You might have seen the title of the video. Pressure? What pressure? Let's talk about pressure. I don't mean water pressure. For those of you with an allotment who have only just had the taps turned on, like ours have. And you know what? It didn't really rain a lot in March and April. So our water butts, they were getting a little bit on the low side, to be fair. But that's another story. I'm on about the pressure of having a garden now at this time of year, May. Wow, I've been a bit of a misery guts about it myself. There's lots going on up here. I'm putting pressure on myself. I'm thinking, oh, this isn't ready, this isn't done. All right, biblical. Before we go any further, biblical. Pride in battle. It's the old badge. I've not got a new cup yet with a new crest. Suburbia Improv Proelia, however you say it. Champions, mate. So we need to say about that, really, isn't it? Champions. Right. So what was I on about? Pressure. Yeah. Is it just me, or is anyone else stressing themselves out? Just perhaps a bit too much than what's good for us about what's going on in our gardens at the moment. I've written some things down. So the kind of things that are stopping me getting to sleep at night at the moment. Have we planted enough seeds? My kitchen table and my kitchen windowsills have been a mess now since sometime in February, to be honest with you. Still don't think I've got enough stuff planted, even though I've been rotating it. When the things get big, that I've started off inside the kitchen, the hardier stuff I've been moving out into the cold frame, repotting it, growing it on, getting it bigger. Some stuff I have planted out already, but there's still lots more stuff coming through. And then there's actual things that you put just straight out into the ground around now. I personally don't think we've planted enough things yet. Other things that I'm stressing out about: weeding. Anyone else feeling that? Hello, Ryan. Oh, Ryan, it is. I feel really bad now, Ryan. Here's me moaning about my tiny little patch of paradise in Lancashire. You've got a field. You've got a full on actual field that you have got to fill. You've got to do all the graft for it. And I'm guessing you've been a busy beaver, a busy Canadian beaver recently, Ryan. Because I've not seen that many uploads from you over the last couple of weeks, and I'm backing off. I'm leaving you alone. Don't want to put pressure on you to upload this. We're talking about pressure right now. I know it's probably because you're busy. But weeds, is anyone else just finding that it's like you pull a weed out and you blink and then there's four more popped up behind you? We just can't seem to do it quick enough. What else? Planting out as well. Planting out. It's like as the year moves forward, as we get closer to June, it's almost like I can hear a clock, the big garden clock ticking, going tick, tick, you're not doing enough, tick, tick, time's running out, tick, tick, get some stuff planted, lazy, whatever. Is anyone else finding this? Please tell me it's not just me. Move to the comments. Hello, Benny. Hello, Norway. Weeding is a pain. Yes. Ryan, overwhelmed. Yeah, Jurgen Klopp knows a thing or two about pressure. He certainly does. Yeah. Right. I mean, actually, if I was probably to step back and try and take an objective look, if I can use such a big posh word at this time of night, we're probably not that far off target, but it just feels like we are. Yeah, it just feels like we are. Where did it tell me how many people we've got? 5 people. The famous 5. Right then. If so, what things are you doing that just like little pressure valve release to get rid of that gardening pressure that all of us are feeling at the moment? How are you finding that the pressure dissipates? Oh, another posh word. Ooh, dissipates. Right. Love weeding. Don't need to use my brain. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Danny. Yeah. Claire, chill out and give me my kitchen table back. Oh, do you know what? Yeah, she's right. She's always right. I should just chill out. And it's all right me saying this. I am doing this live stream from where I work over on the other side of the country. I'm working away, living away at the moment. So it's Claire that's doing all the watering and stuff at nights and what have you. So here's me moaning, and actually, I've got it quite good, to be honest with you. No, but I'm putting pressure on myself because when I go home at weekends, it feels like I've got that much time to get that many gardening jobs done. The most thing I'm feeling it with are the food crops, either the little bits and bobs we've got in our backyard, or the majority of our food crops are up at the allotment, and that's what I'm most feeling the pressure with, because it must be like a caveman thing, you know, fella, ug, must provide food for family. I am putting a bit pressure on myself. Right then. So, has anyone else got any tips? I know some people like a little glass of wine. What do you find helps? I find, as Benny says, where am I looking? That she loves weeding. She doesn't need to use her brain. Yeah, I find I'm not stressed when I'm actually in the moment doing gardening jobs. It's more when I step back, and I have a lot of time to step back, as I've just said, I work away. So I can't go out and scratch that itch right now and go out into my backyard or up to the allotment, because I'm miles away from it, to be honest with you. So what else? I've been using this gardening diary. This was an idea that Kelly, come on, where have you gone, man? Kelly, from Kelly's Kitchen Garden. She's a Lancashire lass originally, but she lives up in Scotland now. I got the idea from Kelly. She was saying how she writes stuff down. Well, I'm finding it's helping a lot. It's the first year I've made a serious attempt to, every time I've been doing stuff in the garden, been making a record of it. And it is helping. It's helping in lots of ways. One, it's helping me remember things. Two, that pressure and stress I've just been talking about, that I'm kind of putting on myself. Actually, when all's calm and I've got a nice brew and I sit back at night and I read the diary and I look back over the last few weeks, I'm thinking, you know what? Actually, no, it's not like we haven't been doing anything. Look at all this. We have been doing quite a lot of stuff. Biblical. I only look at the things that don't need doing in the garden. Chills me out. Now, my brother, our kid, he's got one of those imitation lawns, and for that reason, that must be amazing. You'll never have to mow it. He's never going to get mud or bits of grass being traipsed into the house. It's like having a carpet in your back garden. And it looks really good as well. It doesn't look like that horrible same colour stuff that they sometimes put in refrigerated units in greengrocer shops. Do you know the sort of stuff I mean? It looks like grass. It's really good. So yeah. My diary. So for example, Friday night, I've written down, took up some decking, laid a one slab, 3 steps, and gravel. So when I think, when did I do that? When did I rip that decking up? You know, in months and years to come. I've got a copy of this now, because that garden is going to be changing as more and more of the decking over time starts to rot. And I get rid of it, it will be getting replaced. Now, it's not all going to be slabs and gravel. That was just to fill that little hole that I created on Friday night. We're going to have more soil on the floor. So it'd be nice to have these diaries to look back on, to see the record of how my garden's changed. Probably shouldn't say this, but I've got to be honest. I have accidentally, on purpose, every time I water all the pots on the decking, I always make sure I splash loads of water around onto the wood so that it speeds up the rotting process. I don't look at the comments in case Claire's still watching. But Claire, I've got to be honest with you, I can't lie to you. This face can't lie to you. So now you know, people. But it's been taking years for it to rot. It's tough stuff, that decking, because honestly, the amount of water I've been splashing on it to try and get it to rot, wow. Right, Benny, all my bush beans ready to plant out fell upside down onto the floor in the greenhouse today. No, no. She lost the garden spirit for a moment. Have you got backup? Have you got a plan B? Have you got spare seeds? Can a white knight in shining armour ride in and rescue you? Have you got a neighbour perhaps who might be growing some beans, their bush beans, and he can go, here you go, Benny, have a few of these. I hope that gets sorted out for you, Benny. And even if you don't have someone that comes to the rescue, sowing again. There you go. Just sow again, because we all know that actually there shouldn't be so much time pressure. Things will catch up. They will catch up eventually. There's only a couple of things that probably most of us grow that we really are under time pressure for, like getting your chili seeds started in January. But do you know what? If we don't get our chili seeds planted in January, so that they've had long enough to grow to give us a crop in August and September going into October, it's not the end of the world, because we can go to a garden centre and buy chili plants, can't we? That someone else has started off for us. So what else have I got to say? Is anyone growing anything new this year so far that you've never ever tried to grow before? I got the idea to ask you that question because I have just seen a little bit of a shout out coming up. I should have a machine that plays like jingles when I say certain words. So like shout out, I press a button and it goes shout out, something like that. I've just been watching Kelly from my UK homestead, and somebody had sent her a book about perennial vegetables, and in my comment on the video I'd put something like, oh, I hope you get lots of ideas for new things to grow. So that's gave me the idea for this question. Anyone growing anything new? Quick look at the comments while I sneak some in my brew. Artichokes, chard and celeriac would be cool. Oh, I think we've had the chat about artichokes, haven't we? I think you commented on one of my videos. You're going globe artichokes, if I remember rightly, because you asked me about plant spacings. So Benny, turnips and melon for the first time. Good luck with the melons. I'm no expert, but I know in the country where you live, you're a bit more further north than our country. So have you got a particular variety that does well in northern climates? Or are you going to go out of your way to give it some artificial heat from like a polytunnel or a hotbed or something like that? Hello, Eco-Centric Homestead. Good to have you with us. Nice to see you. In the greenhouse should be okay. Yep. And are you going to trail it up something, or are you going to let it just do its own funky thing and scramble all over? Anyone else growing anything new for the first time this year? Now, biblical, the celeriac, we've grown it in the past. It seems to need a long growing season. I'm talking like most of the year. I'd give it a good 8 or 9 months before you get a decent size, ugly looking ball thing that you can harvest. It's all like rooty and it's quite ugly, really. A bit like Phil Jones's face, you know what I'm saying, don't you, mate? Yeah. Right, what else have I got? Another channel I'd like to mention. I mentioned I've been name dropping a few already. But another channel I'd like to mention is the lovely Chris at ACS. Now, Chris, I've been hearing a lot about your If You Were a Plant challenge. Haven't actually watched your video yet, but I'm so going to. And without even seeing it yet, already, my little imagination synapses are going pew, 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 pew. I'm thinking I'm going to dress up as a plant. I'm thinking I'm going to pretend I'm a tree or something like that. I might cover up my rude bits with fruit, that kind of thing. So I will be watching your video, Chris, ACS channel, if you were a plant challenge, and I will very much so be taking part. Oh yes, bring it on. Right, what have we got here? Supporting the melon with string and tomato clips. Sounds good to me, Bennett. Right, so Claire is off to water the garden. Claire is the engine that drives this machine. I'm just the plonker that sits at the front with the steering wheel. I'm the public face. I'm what the speed camera takes a picture of. Claire is the engine of our garden machine. She's now off to water the garden. Thanks, Claire. And the decking. Yes, yes. Get that hose pipe on it. Get it soaking. It's got to go. That decking's got to go. Right, Ecocentric Homestead. I have a cold frame on the south side of my house for growing melons. So it's a heat trap. When days are warm enough, I take the glass off and they're out in the open. Brilliant. Have you been doing that for long? Have you had much success with that? Do you get like 1 or 2 reasonable sized melons off a plant, or do you get loads? Does that fulfill all your melon requirements? How do you get on growing your melons that way, Ecocentric Homestead? Right. Another thing, I hope this doesn't exclude people in other countries that might know this plant by a different name, but not by the one I'm going to call it. Elderflowers on elder trees. What I wanted to ask was, wherever it is you live, are any elderflowers out yet where you live, where you're watching this from? The reason I ask is, it's something I always try and do. At this, not far off now, roughly pretty much any time now they'll start coming into flower where I live. But I like to pick some and try and make some wine with them. Now, I don't pick all of them on the trees that I go to. I'll leave a load of the flower heads on, because fast forward into autumn and they turn into berries, which you can throw into jams. You can make elderberry wine rather than elderflower wine. So wherever you're watching this from, are any elderflowers in bloom yet, or have they not quite opened up yet? What have we got? Ecocentric Homestead. My new thing is baking beans, Jacob's Cattle, Soldier, and Black Turtle. There's a lot of new varieties there on me. They sound like spy passwords or something. You know, like you say to me, Jacob's Cattle, and my answer is Black Turtle. And that's when we know that we're on the same side, and I can give you the secret documents and you don't shoot me with a silencer or something like that. So, are all those varieties beans, Ecocentric Homestead? Overgrow the UK, no elderflower yet in the Midlands. Yeah, no, I'm further up than you in Lancashire, but say, for example, down on my cycle track that links Lancaster to Morecambe, there's quite a few bits of sheltered spots, and if you know where to look in those sheltered spots, you get a bit of a head start on some of the more open trees. The melons I get at icebox size, but very delicious. You've got my mouth watering now. For homegrown fruit, it's going to be strawberries soon for us. Who was I watching the other day? Might have been Liz Zorab at By the Farm. She's only flipping picking strawberries already. Hashtag what? How's she done that? Yeah. I've not sown the Oasis turnips yet, biblical, but they're in. I've got like a little pile that I keep hopefully taking up to the allotment with me, in the hope that if I get the chance every time I've been up recently and I get the jobs done that I need to get done, they're going to get planted out. But they still haven't been planted out yet, those Oasis turnips. I think they were all white, weren't they, as well? I'm not at home, so I can't look round to the kitchen where I keep my seed box and have a root for them. But they will be getting planted out. And I think the good thing with them, really, they don't have a huge growing time, turnips. They're fairly quick turnaround from popping the seed into harvesting. So there's got time now. Are you trying to make me jealous? Biblical, your strawberries are nearly ready. Flipping it. Is it any particular variety you can throw us a bone and give us a particular variety of whatever strawberries those are that are nearly ready? Because you know, if there's such a thing as early strawberries that are working for you, they'll be good to know that. Benny, no strawberries here, not even the flowers. Benny, where you live, is it quite rural, or are you in the city, like Oslo? And if you live fairly close to the countryside, do you have little, like, wild strawberries, alpine strawberries? They're very small ones, but they've got a very strong concentrated flavour. Do you have those growing wild in your part of Norway, Benny? Excuse me, always talk. You need to wet your whistle, don't you? Just completely unrelated to gardening, and it is unrelated. So if you're gonna get bored by this, just zone out for 10 seconds. Who's been watching Game of Thrones? Oh my god! Right, no more said about that. Leave us a comment, let us know. Wow. Overgrow the UK, plenty of flowers, but no strawberries. Well, we're pretty much in the same boat. We did about a month ago, I think it was. We had lots of flowers, but then we must have had a frost because all the little bits in the middle, they all went black. But we've had plenty more flowers come through since then, and things are looking good. So we should have a decent amount of strawberries. Jennifer's in the hashtag GOT club. Good on you. Have you been enjoying it? No, from my little bit of peace. Right. The strawberry variety that Biblical has got, which almost ready, is Fragitia ostada. Just been outside. He's going to upload a video of them soon. Please do. I need to see gardening videos from you. You've got the odd bit of Man City stuff, which is great, but the world needs to see your gardening, because I know you're into your gardening. You're all over the gardening community on YouTube. You're one of the stalwarts of this happy gang of gardeners here online. That'd be amazing if you could upload a video of that. I'm looking forward to it already. Right. So Benny, in a little village in the countryside in the western part, yes, the wild strawberries are in flower. Brilliant. Oh my god, they nearly left when they heard Game of Thrones. Well, I won't talk about it again. Jennifer, last episode is your favourite. I've just talked about it, sorry. Yeah, well, lots can happen. Speaking of lots happening, there's lots happening in our gardens, isn't there? What else? Well, see how I brought it back then? See how I pulled it back from the brink? So anyone that's joined us that wasn't here right at the start, is anybody else growing anything new this year? I'm trying to think, what are we going? Yes. I know what we're growing that's completely new to us. A few different varieties of squash and pumpkin, which the amazingly lovely Kelly at My UK Homestead sent to us. She sent us a proper wodge of seeds. We are not going to starve in our house this year, I tell you that, and that's down to Kelly. She's making sure that us Northerners get fed. She's from Somerset as well, which I'm from Lancashire. You might not know this, Somerset were on the side of Lancashire in the War of the Roses, so you're all right by me. Right then. Yes, and some of those new things that we're growing in our house are Turk's Head, squash things, and Jack Be Little pumpkins. I've got those on the go. They're not planting them out yet, but we're doing all right. And she also sent us some. Right, this is where I'm going to really regret trying to pronounce this, because I've got quite a few teeth missing and I struggle forcing words out sometimes. Uchihikure. I hope I said that right. I think it's a Japanese word. It's a very small quite attractive looking squash, actually. I'm saying squash, it might just be like a miniature pumpkin. But ooh cheeky Corey. Like that. Ooh cheeky. So we're trying that. We've never ever grown them before, but I've always wanted to. Just because if nothing else, they've got an ace name. Do you know what I mean? So let's go have a quick look at the comments. Benny, I have to learn to eat pumpkin and squash. I'll be honest with you, on their own, I think there's not much flavour to them. You've got to sex them up a bit. You've got to add some herbs. You've got to roast them with herbs so that flavour gets into it. And then once you've roasted it, you can do things like wazz it up with a blender and add it to a soup, make a pumpkin soup, that kind of thing. But it's not the kind of thing I'd enjoy eating on its own, to be honest with you. Someone else going Jack Belittle, but next year. Had terrible problems with squash bugs last year. Jennifer. That's a new one on me. Do you mean, are they a type of insect that attacks squash plants? Or are they just gardening bugs in general that you squash? Or I'm not sure. I might know them by a different name, perhaps. Yes. Right, well, guys, I've pretty much worked through the things that I had wrote down that I wanted to chat. As always, thank you for joining in. Thank you for your comments, because it's actually your comments that have made this video interesting for other people to watch. Otherwise, it's just me going blah, 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 and no one wants to see that, really, do they? So, thank you, every single one of you. Thank you very, very much. Right. It is Wednesday night. I'm going to my house on Friday, reunited with our Claire and the girls, but also reunited with my garden and the allotment. And I can't wait. Right. Whatever you're doing there for the rest of the week, try and enjoy some time in your garden. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Right. Now is that awkward moment where I have a little look around. How do you stop these things? If I just wave, hey, I'll just keep waving. Where's the button? There you go. And yeah, keep. Oh, it's not ended. Hang on. Yeah, I am sure. Why do you think I pressed it? Of course I'm sure I want to end the stream. I wouldn't have pressed it.